Hello Aries, welcome to Elle's House of Tarot. I hope everyone's having a beautiful day today. So this week we are doing True Feelings readings, and we're taking a look to see what the true feelings of the person you have in mind are. This could be somebody that you are in separation from. This could be somebody you just started dating. Could be somebody you have a crush on. You just kind of see which scenario plays out here. So let's get into your reading. I was on vacation last week, so that's why I didn't post anything, but I'm back now. All right, Spirit, let's see. All right, Spirit, what are the true feelings of the person on Aries' mind? Okay. This is a general reading for Aries, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus. So if your sun sign doesn't resonate, be sure to check out the other placements in your chart. Sometimes those can resonate more. Being a general reading, make sure you're only taking the messages that resonate for you and leave the rest. If you'd like to take a closer look at your personal situation, you can book a reading with me by sending an email to ellshouseoftaro@gmail.com. All right, these cards came out pretty fast. We have the Hermit, Hanged Man in reverse, and the Four of Cups. I think your person has put a lot of time and energy to try and understand what exactly the connection between you guys is. I feel like your person has been isolated for a while. I feel like they've been deep in thought. I'm getting a couple messages from the Hanged Man. It's actually a Hanged Woman in reverse. Either they are coming out of introspection and they are coming out of a stuck time of solitude to come forward or to move things forward, or they are only analyzing the connection from a logical, practical 3D perspective, and they aren't allowing the spiritual aspect of it to come in yet. Okay, it's going to be different for everybody since it's a general reading. Four of Cups, though, they miss you or they don't want to miss out on you. It could be both, actually. Yeah, but either way, they're thinking about you and the connection you have a lot. If they're not thinking about it from a spiritual perspective, they're wondering, is this a person I can marry? Do we make sense together? Do we want the same types of things? Hopefully they're doing both and they're actually coming out of stagnancy, but we'll see. All right, so why is the Hermit here? Three of Cups. It's interesting because the Hermit is a card of solitude and the Three of Cups is this card of like celebration and gathering. But what I'm feeling is your person is actually feeling very happy with whatever conclusion they've come to. And they might even want to tell you about it or go out and celebrate like with themselves or maybe with you. But I just think whatever conclusion they've come to, they're very happy. So why is the Hanged Woman in the reverse? Nine of Pentacles. Nine of Pentacles. Sorry, it sounded like I said nine. Nine of Pentacles. If they are coming out of introspective, if they're coming out of stagnation, they are very proud of themselves. They've achieved something here with this Nine of Pentacles. They also could be looking at you and being proud of you and seeing like all the things you've accomplished and looking at how well you're doing. Again, if they're only seeing this relationship from a practical 3D level and not spiritually, or not incorporating the spiritual aspect, at least not yet, they see you as a logical choice or a very secure, and that's a better word, like if they feel very secure in choosing you or deciding to follow through with you. All right, so why is the Four of Cups here? Yeah, Wheel of Fortune. This longing energy they have for you, or a fear of missing out on you, is propelling things forward and for them, and will have a positive turn of events for you here. And it's interesting how in this card, she's meditating, and that one cup, the Ace of Cups, is floating above her head, and she's just kind of like meditating on it, dreaming about it, fantasizing. Okay, so your person, they don't want this cup to float away. They want to be able to grab onto you, and I think it makes them very happy as well. All right, so what are the next steps for Aries person? Oh, what are the next steps for Aries person? Okay, so we have the Devil, the Four of Swords, and the Star. What an interesting combination of cards here. On the bottom, we have the Princess of Pentacles in reverse. That's the Page of Pentacles. Okay. There's something about this person's ego, or your person's ego, that won't allow them to surrender to the spiritual side of this connection. They might not be a spiritual person, they might not be religious, they might have made fun of that their whole lives or been resistant to that. That's kind of what I'm getting here, drawing me back to this Hanged Woman in reverse. Because there's a resistance to learn and to open themselves up to a new idea or a new concept here, with this being in the reverse. And then we have the Devil, that's the ego. Four of Swords, underneath this Hanged Woman, feels like they are contemplating the idea, maybe mulling it around in their mind, because they feel fated towards you, which is probably not a feeling they've ever experienced before. This feeling of fate, serendipity, of instantaneous soul recognition. I don't think it's something they've experienced before, and maybe they've gone deep into introspection with this Hermit because they're trying to make logical sense of a spiritual connection. Okay, and that's because they're in their ego here. This card does not feel malicious. It doesn't have negative energy. It's just kind of their mind talking them out of surrendering to the spiritual aspect of things. But I think with the Four of Swords here, they're not surrendering to it, because we have both these cards in the reverse, but they're kind of like, well, maybe Aries is right, or maybe there's something to this, something more that I don't understand. And they might need a little bit longer period of rest, of thinking, before they come towards you. All right, so why is the Devil here? I have Two of Wands. So Two of Wands is making a choice and following through. But what I'm kind of seeing here is your person almost feels like they have to choose between two worlds if they choose you. She's holding like a little sphere in her hand, and I think in more detailed cards, I believe it is a globe. But so they have this Devil energy telling them there's no such thing as spirituality, of soulmates, of divine connections, of source. And they kind of feel a little bit torn here, but they feel like they have to choose between the beliefs that they've been rigid in for a while and this spiritual journey. And they know that once they leave one world, if they leave one world behind, like if they choose one world, the other world has to be left behind. That's the feeling that I'm getting, is they feel like they have to choose. They feel like if they're with you, then they have to like accept and surrender to the spirituality. They have to become like a a hippie or something like that. They feel like they have to, and it's like they feel like their mindset has to completely change. But it probably, I don't know. I don't think it needs to. Why is the Four of Swords here? That's something you can maybe discuss with them, you know. Yeah, see? The Death and Rebirth. They will have to leave something in their life behind and be reborn as something completely different. And they're thinking about this. Do I want to go through all this? Is there really such thing as a spiritual journey? Am I just, what are these weird feelings that I have when I'm around Aries? You know? And I'm kind of, so I don't have any Aries in my chart. I'm a Gemini. My person is a Gemini. And I didn't like not believe in spirituality or anything like that, but I really wasn't into it or really knew anything about it until after I met him and I went through my awakening. And he is still very practical, logical, and trying to make all these decisions in his mind, which is why he can't make a choice. And that's kind of where I feel like your person is at. Like they feel like they don't understand the spiritual stuff. And they know that if they go into this relationship with you for a deep level of commitment, they have to completely change, or they don't have to, it's just going to happen naturally. Everything about their lifestyle, what they believed, is going to start to change. And how they were living before is going to be left behind. And they're going to be born again here. All right, so why is the star here? Yeah, the Empress in the reverse. To me, this is just speaking to a delay. Yeah, we have the Four of Pentacles. It's like they're trying to hold on to you in the connection, but also trying to hold on to the beliefs that they've it's almost like they have a rigid grasp on their beliefs or what they've believed in the past, and they just haven't been, open to opening up. But this Empress in the reverse feels like a delay, because the Empress is about new life, new beginnings, and she's also divine feminine energy. So this could also be them trying to talk themselves out of feeling a spiritual connection with you, whether they're the feminine or you're the feminine, doesn't matter. But they're like, divine feminine energy, what is that? That's not real. That doesn't exist. It's just, I feel like your person is feeling these things and they're trying to talk themselves out of it because they have never felt anything like this before and they can't make practical, logical sense out of it. All right, so let's get you a final word of advice here today, Aries. Final word of advice for Aries. It's time to take action, which is new moon in Aries. What I'm feeling from this card, okay, remember, I'm not telling anybody what to do. You have to use your own intuition to decide what choices you want to make. But with this action card, I feel like you need to have kind of a heart-to-heart conversation with your person. And, for me, this is my personal situation. So, you need to do what's right for you. I would tell my person, you don't have to believe in divine counterparts. You don't have to believe in soulmates. But if you feel a connection with me or a tie with me or like we're supposed to be together, then you can just follow that. You don't have to go off learning how to do tarot and go deep into all this twin flames, soulmate. You don't have to do that. Just trust that we are supposed to be together and we can go from there. That is what I personally feel I would say to my person. But, I just feel like there's some sort of conversation that needs to be had so that your person can kind of get out of this, I have to change my entire belief system if I stay with Aries kind of mindset. Okay? All right, I'm going to leave it there for you. If it resonated, please like the video, leave a comment, subscribe, and share. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.